Hey there, how we doing? I'm Yalek, and we're going to do another episode of Fat Fingers. Verified booming, registered trademark there. Had a nice op yesterday. Let's see, what do we get? 298, 226, 155, 190, and 119. So whatever the 262 was, I don't remember what that bass was. So that clearly wasn't a solo bass, but all of the other big basses were, and we went ahead and soloed them. I'm going to try to keep this video a little bit shorter than the last one, which had me rambling for 18 minutes, so we're just going to get straight into the hits. Very, very nice op roll. This was the big bass on the op, and this Conofold is kind of a peach. You've got a shock here, and you have two things to shock back here, but you can shock them together. And after you do that, you really don't need to shock anything else if you're parked in the usual spot next to these boom cannons. There was some GBE to farm. Sven didn't even bother with that. He rarely does. For this bass anyway. Dioxin, he does that a lot. But this one just doesn't even really require it. The health on this, so 2 million. So you're probably looking at 2 shocks on repeat. I believe he shocks these rocket launchers also. But you can see there that it's not necessary. Nope, I'm wrong. I forgot. My mistake. I did see these earlier, but I watched them once quickly. Oh, and I'm wrong about the flotsam too. The flotsam does not range, so just the 2 shocks and not even the hard shock back here. And that's a very nice Conofold to have for the big 298 bass on the operation. I took TechCrunch. TechCrunch is just, it's one of those basses you can't get excited about soloing. You can get upset about failing it because you're not supposed to fail it, but you can't get excited about soloing it because it's just, like, this is about as big of a TechCrunch as you'll ever see. It's just not that exciting a walk. There was some farming to do over there if you had Gramps and if it was necessary. It really wasn't necessary in this case. I'm going to showcase that flare point because I just watched somebody else do this walk in another task force and mess it up and run into a level 23 mine and lose like all but a small handful of his girls. First flare point, right down there next to that sniper tower. Very easy. Second flare point, I generally use right here at the corner, but you can also use a flare point on the wall, but it has to be up against the wall up here. And then your troops will walk in a very nice, easy path. They go up this line right next to the sniper. They go through these snipers here. It's a walk everybody should know and probably does know because it's the same walk that you do for Gambit, which is exactly the same layout, but no shield, excuse me. One girl, of course, had to peek out the back as we were coming out of smoke. Didn't end up mattering. And then we're just going to clear the last remaining defense down here that can range and burn through this shield. Very, very exciting. I know. I mean, there was nothing else I could do at this point, and I had a good amount of time left for my Izukas to be working. I didn't farm or anything, so I just walked straight up here. So I had like 3 minutes or something left. I just walked away from my tablet. I came back partway through. I went and did something. I came back partway through just to check and make sure that everything was still going properly. And I'm out of GBE at that point. There's nothing to do. Nothing can shoot me. And, so my girls are still just standing there, and I walked away again. But again, it's TechCrunch. Unless you get a weird layout with like rockets on the wrong side of the core or something like that, it's a pretty standard day. And I'm not gonna lie, I was actually not. I mean, I wasn't. Like I said, you can't brag about beating TechCrunch, but I was happy to see it because I was happy to have a chippy today. I've had a couple of really poor hits over the last couple days here, and I don't know, sometimes you just want to win one. Anyway, now we have Argus. Argus going on Quantum 155. So Argus going slightly out of order, but we won't give him too much crap for that. Quantum, I don't think this was very high health, so a little over 1.2 million total. And he does something that I highly approve of for this base. There is generally some free GBE to be had over here. Here's one base that Sven will farm very frequently, and I've taken up that habit also, especially as the health on Quantum is never actually all that high. Don't need to clear those mines over there if you do the landing properly, but we'll talk about that in a second. Anyway, there's a lot of free GBE over here, and he goes ahead and gets as much of it as he can. The only thing I'll say about doing that, and this goes for his hit here as well as mine, is that if possible, if you can work out a way to avoid triggering these rocket launchers, highly recommended. Like, one way would just be to take an artillery at a point like this and kill off the bombers. That way that you don't end up losing the delay. Another way to do that, I suppose, would be to flare like up here at some point, like up to the corner, and let the guys step forward, and these rocket launchers would finish them off. Those rocket launchers don't matter, they don't range the kill spot that he set up over here, where he cleared mines, and probably should have gone back, missed the his drop there. Anyway, if you drop on this beach, flare over to the wall, so your girls are walking along towards the right here. When you get to the wall, they'll start to turn, and when the lead Zookas start to turn, you know, you just flare up to somewhere like right in the middle of these sniper towers, but above them, and you'll never have to worry about hitting those mines. Your Zookas will just walk right along this row of towers. So, just a small observation there. Obviously, he still won in the attack, so you know you can survive without that. But same thing with the delay over here. So he's just going to shock a little bit early, and he's parked a little bit further left than normally you would. Normally, I'd be a little bit higher up here, and that rocket launcher shouldn't have been really a factor, but it did end up being a factor. Anyway, shock nice and early, knowing that you've lost the delay, in particular the things that you've lost the delay on, and you still come out with a win there. Low point, the 190 base, we've got Perrins, and this was a nasty low point from what I recall. Yeah, not a really fun layout. So the standard play, you take like 4 or 5 boats of Zookas. He smokes late here. I almost have to wonder if he did this on purpose. Right, now he's going to start smoking. But I almost have to wonder if he let Sparky toss out a couple of her mines there, or her critters, to clear a few of these mines, because you are going to have to clear them later. That's going to be the spot where you need to stand. Standard play, you'd come up here with 4 or 5 boats of Zookas. These are usually rocket launchers, which means you can just stand there and kill them without anything, you know, to kill you. But that's not going to work when that's all flamethrowers. So he went with the hack approach instead. Still has a laser to deal with, and keep in mind that with the critters now that he has been releasing. Now see, as she continues to walk, see, he clears more mines along the way. Don't know if that was intentional or not. If it was, that was a pretty clever. It's a no GBE way to clear your mines. And GBE usually does become a factor this hit later on. We can put this in a faster mode. Obviously that laser has to die. This mortar has to die also. And then once that mortar is dead, you can reposition over here. Trouble is, first of all, he's still working this way. And that means these rocket launchers, that's not right. These rocket launchers start to see you, so you have to be careful of your range over there while you're trying to kill that one mortar particularly. Now he comes back over here and he's shocking the snipers, because if you're sitting here burning through the shield, those snipers can become a real problem. If you're going to stand there for 2 minutes and they're picking off, sniper tower shoots once a second, so 3 sniper towers, 3 girls every second, that will run you out of Zookas fairly quickly. So The positioning was kind of delicate on this one. Like having that extra mortar dead over there was a good idea to keep him away from the snipers. He shocked them as long as he could and then just tried to get away. Obviously the critters will help with the snipers too, but not often that you have to worry about snipers ruining your hit, but there are a couple of circumstances, and that's one of them. Another one where the snipers can become a problem is ransom, strangely enough, because there's another one where you stand there for a while, you know, while bullet taunts 2 or 3 times. So if you're standing there 20 seconds and there are a bunch of sniper towers nearby, you need to shock them, because otherwise they can... normally you wouldn't shock snipers, but in a situation like that, over time, they do become a real problem for your hit. Finally, and this one is an interesting one, strangely, I think we had the exact same hit today left to do. So this is Mav, and he's got Blue Water, which is the 119 base, so it's the little base on the op, but of course Blue Water is a shield base. This one is just 3 shocks repeated if you're parking over here where you can see he's setting himself up. You need to shock these things behind you. You'll be standing in the blind spot of those 2 rocket launchers, so you're good on those. But you need to shock behind you, you need to shock this machine gun. This one shouldn't be a problem, but this machine gun, and cool. These rocket launchers back here. So 3 shocks, but you're going to have to repeat them because the shield here, I think the overall health that he had to kill here was something like close to 4 million, which is a lot of damage to do. The GBE isn't too much of a factor. It's not a long walk. We've got cheap shocks. Once again, he's distracting the 1-shot defenses around him, snipers and boom cannons. Another set of critters there. Obviously, GBE is not an issue at all. He's going to start with his... Oh, he already did the reshocks. I talked too much, I missed that. But yeah, he's trying to distract the snipers and boom cannons up there because, again, every sniper is picking off your girls every second. Boom cannons picking off your girls. I think they shoot every 4 seconds, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boom cannons, so every 4 seconds you lose 6 more girls on top of the snipers. So that's an interesting hit. You don't usually sit there through 2 rounds of shocks, and I mean obviously just GBE for days there with the cheap shock tribe that we have right now, which helps a lot. But there's at least 3 batches of critters as well as 6 shocks, so that was pretty interesting. And then today we have almost the exact same hit. Where did you go? Blue Water, 119. Again, that doesn't range. Well, one small addition. We have mortars up here. But you could possibly position yourself up a little bit higher. So position yourself kind of up here, and then you don't have to worry about the flamethrowers and machine guns. So park just a little bit higher, and then shock on the mortars, shock on these things, shock on these rocket launchers back here, and repeat. So, what is the actual... So, building health 324 here, and that gives us like 3.2 million. So, on this one that Mav just did, let's see what the building health was comparatively. So 324 versus 253. So actually I take it back. The health on this one would have been a little bit lower than that, than I said, but still, it's going to be a lot of damage to do, especially for a 119 base. It's not like you're killing a base on massive attack here. Anyway, some more of our patented very fine booming, 5 blue lines and all that. And hopefully, again, let's see, we've had a couple of bad ops today, like I said, or today, over the last week. I might or might not have been responsible for a couple of those with, you know, some real flop hits, but we've still managed to move up the leaderboard, and now, even with the bad operations, and now we're knocking on top 50 there. I wonder, I thought that might have been somebody, wait a minute. I don't know. Anyway, so about to approach the leaderboard. Today should be a pretty good day the way we're starting out here. Let's see, 2 bases down. Blue Water should be a solo again, same as yesterday. Strange attractors. It's a tricky one, but it could be a solo. Probably should be a solo. And then some farming on Alamo. I'm hitting late, so I probably get to do the farming. Yeah, I like farming. It's fun figuring out like where you can get the most force points. Anyway, yeah, so hopefully I'll be doing this again in a few days as we continue to have good ops. And yeah, I'll see you guys around. Take care.